Hello and welcome to Art 13131, and we're in week 4 still. We're going to talk about assignment number 11 and assignment number 12. So let's go on to number 11 real quickly here, which is a coat over a chair. Excuse me if I sound hoarse. Getting over a cold here. So a coat over a chair, you want to set up a chair, possibly a wood chair because they are a lot more interesting sometimes than other chairs, but there's a lot of things to shade in them. But the it's not all about the chair, it's about the coat over the chair. As you can see, when you place a coat or hoodie or even a small blanket, not something huge, you don't want to cover the whole chair. You want part of the chair to show. So you're going to have part of this garment over the chair and part of it not. So you can see partially the chair under here. You want to create a single light source. In this case, it's coming from the right side. So you want a single light source, and you want to create a lot of dips and folds and crevices in your garment so that you have all these light and dark areas to shade. This is the most successful way to draw this, so you have a lot of shape, which is created by the contrast in light and dark shades, and the midtones, all the midtones in between light and dark, are going to be represented by your shading marks on the garment. And so it's showing that you have dips and turns and folds and crevices, valleys and peaks, however you want to describe it. They're all in this garment. And you're going to be creating those with your shading, which is going to create a three-dimensional appearance on your two-dimensional paper. Okay, so that's what your goal is. The more contrast, the better. Yeah. What the heck? Excuse me. Um, so here we have another example. I see cast shadow on the back wall, which is pretty important for this one. They don't have to have it in there. Now, there's going to be some sort of cast shadow probably. It's better to show a background. Oh my God. Um, Shade in a background and and a surface of the floor. It always helps because it's always going to bring out the highlights in your drawing because you've gotten rid of all the white paper look. Now, if nothing in your view when you set this chair up, a real chair, you're drawing from a real chair, not imagination, okay? And make sure you have that image ready to send me because I'm going to ask to so I can compare it. Sometimes I don't. When I really see a lot of contrast, I figure it's pretty well drawn. I won't ask for that, but a lot of time I do. So if you're wondering, maybe you just want to send it along with your drawing. You know, kind of knock out a step there. But here you have all the light and dark areas, all the dips and folds because of the areas that aren't being lit up by light and the areas that are being lit up by the light. Plus you have all the nuance of this wood. The wood may be stained, so it's a darker tone. So you represent that in your gray graphite tones with darker tones to it. And then there'll be light highlights in here too. It's not all dark. But the left side is darker than the right because the right side has the light shining on it from the right side. Same with the garment. So you want to represent all that. You want to know where your light source is coming. You want to stay consistent with it. I say paying attention, or with attention to your light source. And that's how you show all this shape. That one's not a great drawing. Let's not show that one. This is a pretty good drawing. Again, the background is shaded in, but it's not all one tone. There's several different tones in here, kind of mixed around, kind of smudged around. That's going to show distance in the background from your subject matter. If this is all one tone, it's going to look like it's right on the chair, like right behind the chair, like a wall. And that's not going to show much distance. So, and wherever you have this set up, you don't have to draw all the background that's in the actual scene. You can just do this in the background, and it takes care of all your background. You don't have to show a lot of detail in what is in the background, like another table or a wall or other things back there. You don't need to show that. You can just smudge around in tones that are separate and different slightly. They 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 work with each other very well. They're smoothly shaded together. A little darker here, a little lighter there, a little darker there, a little lighter there, a little darker there. And it creates a distance, kind of a smoky appearance back there. And then you have all your very dark and light areas to the garment and the chair. There's a lot of contrast in this. It is not light. So I would just suggest making a gesture drawing of what you see with the chair and the garment very lightly with your pencils so that you can cover it up with other shading. When you're getting ready to shade, you won't see those lines because they're really not there. There's not a bunch of lines bordering any of these sections on the garment or on the chair. Now I can see they used a couple of lines up here to define. Really probably didn't even need to do that. I could see that the background is separating itself from this highlight on the chair here and on the other part, and these are separated by that tone there. When you have tones that are separating other tones, they meet up with other tones, other shading tones. They will separate themselves. They will make it their own edge and own border without a line, because the lines aren't really there. If you draw lines around all this, it's not accurate. It's not real life. It's not what you really saw. Yep, that's not it. Okay. I was kind of messing up on my cues here. That was a good one. That was a good one. I think I lost some of the other ones, but you can go back in the video and watch and look at those again. Set up your own chair with your own garment on it, or somebody else's garment, but one that you have, not in your imagination. And a single light source, like a window light or a lamp light, but not multiple light sources, because that's going to create too many uh, shiny areas where light is hitting and not create all the true uh, shadow areas. Okay, you need all those. So a single light source is your best option for all that. All right, let's talk about um, your eyes in a reflection from a mirror. That's going to be your next drawing for typically homework in a face-to-face class, but we're going to call it the next assignment. That's how much of your eyes you want to show. You want to show the bridge of the nose, the eyebrows, the brow underneath the eyebrow, in between the eye and the eyebrow. All this has shading. So look at your own eyes like that. Maybe take a photo of it. If you take a photo of it, you don't want to look at the camera because you're going to look cross-eyed. That's hard to do, right? Just kind of blur your eyes and don't look at the camera. Don't actually focus on the camera, and you won't go cross-eyed. Or you can take it kind of further away and zoom in. Otherwise, you're going to end up with your iris over here and over here as you're trying to look at this camera really close to your face. Okay? I know it's hard to do, but try to do that. And or have somebody else take a picture of you. Try not to look at the camera. I mean, just don't look to the sides. You want it straight ahead, but you don't want to be cross-eyed. If it looks cross-eyed, you're going to have to take it again and try not to look at the camera. Just kind of look at nothing. Just look straight ahead and don't try to focus on the camera. Then you won't go cross-eyed, okay? But you'll see that the iris is the colored part. Pupil is the dark part in the middle. You'll see that the iris is slightly covered up by the top eyelid, or more than not. The bottom isn't as covered up as the top is. You'll notice this on your own eyes. Now, if you don't draw the iris covered up at all, you're going to look like you have this big surprised look on your face, or little tiny beady irises. You really want to measure out how much iris is in that eyeball, and then put it in. Cover it up slightly with the top eyelid. Then on the corners of the white part, there's areas that get darker. So you're going to shade those in. That's going to make a round appearance to the eye, to the eyeball. When you slightly get darker tones toward the outside corners. Now look at that for a minute. The eyebrows may be dipping down a little too much on this guy. I'm not sure, but you do have shading here above the eye. And there's a little bit of skin before the brow of the eyelid. And then you have the eyelid too. I mean, the eyelashes and eyelashes here, which is the nose, has dark and light areas. Typically in the middle is the light area. And then you have darker on the sides where the light isn't hitting as much. Underneath the eye is the same thing. Let me see if I can find. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to leave the room for a second. Also, going to have a reflection mark on the eyeball, right where the iris is, from light source. You can erase this out. You can tone up the eye first and then erase it out. But look at the shape of the eye. They're kind of almond shaped, but they have difference here, comes down and meets over here. They're not completely oval shaped. They're kind of almond shaped. This doesn't have much tone on the middle of the nose where the bridge is, but that's okay. I want you to show as much of the tones possible, and the shape of the eye, eyelashes, the skin before the brow, and there's a darker area right there. So there's a lot going on, and there's dark and light areas to the bridge of the nose. You don't have to show the nose. This one is. You don't have to show that. We're going to come in a little closer. But you certainly don't want to make cartoon eyes, anime eyes, or anything like that. You want to work from your actual eyes or someone else's, but work from a model. Okay? And then have that model ready to send me so that I can check it out. There's lots going on in the color area. It's not one tone. There's several tones in the iris. And there's a reflection mark on the eye. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So make sure you look and you have noticed everything about your eyes and all the tones before drawing. I'll try to provide a video as well about drawing eyes and check that out, okay? And then start your project for assignment number 12. Now, the midterm presentation is next week. I haven't said much about it, so I may give you a little longer, and I hope I can get through this without coughing. I'm so sorry, but I have to make these videos now because my old ones are outdated. So bear with me. The midterm presentation is a 5-minute long PowerPoint or Google Slides or a video you can make where you're going to present on either an artist, an art style, an art movement, maybe an art technique or method, or something in art history. So basically, it's got to be something about art. If you choose an artist, then you're going to have it's kind of like a small, concise essay where you have a introduction to your subject, a body of information, and a conclusion. Okay, midterm presentation, 5-minute long, so time yourself. How long does it take to talk about this? Or if it's just a Google slide or PowerPoint, then time yourself watching it. I mean, in a reasonable amount of speed, reading what you've put in for content. And you should, within 5 minutes, be able to outline, if it's an artist, something about the artist, why you like it, why you like them, whoever it is, what they do, maybe the duration of time they did it, the time zone, the years, um, maybe something about how successful they were, or did they rock the world in their art, or did it really take notice, the world and people, or was it something that went unnoticed? It can be any artist. Doesn't have to be a famous one. It can be one that maybe I haven't heard of, and that's okay. If it's something about an art technique like oil painting, watercolors, anything, it can be about something we're not doing in this class, which is primarily drawing and painting. You could do it on cake art, costume art, makeup art, tattoo art. Uh, what else? Performance art. So go ahead and research that. If you have questions, ask me about it, and I'll give my 2 cents and suggestions on your presentation, how you should proceed, or if you have an idea about your subject you're not sure about exactly, then we can talk about it. If it's something that you do outside of class, artistically, that you want to present on, and you have examples, then fine, do that. One of the most important parts of the midterm is that you you include and provide your own artwork about your subject that relates to your subject somehow. Like if you're doing it on an artist, maybe you want to copy their work kind of, or do something that's similar. Like if it's surrealistic art, you're going to do something in the surrealistic way, or abstract way, or an impressionist way. Or maybe it's total realism and you want to do that, or the classics, and you're doing somebody in the classics, or Renaissance. There's a lot of art movements. So when you want to talk about an art movement in particular, you can do that as well, like pop art, surrealism, impressionism, postmodernism, modernism. Look it up. There's many. And see what you like, maybe research them and find out what you actually like. And then you could present on that. Or if it's an art technique like watercolor or drawing using charcoal, maybe, or painting in oils, acrylic, um, found object, sculpture. There's many ways to go as far as presenting on art. Pop art, performance art. What was that guy? Banksy, I think his name was. Went around and painted on buildings, and nobody could really tell who he was. And yeah, that kind of thing too. You could do that. A lot of you could do graffiti art, something on graffiti art, but show a lot of examples. You want to show at least 5 or more images that relate to your subject that is describing it and showing example of it. 5 or more, not just 1 or 2, 5 or more, and your own artwork is included in the presentation. Now, like I said, you can make a video while you're just talking about it and showing examples rather than writing it all on a PowerPoint or a Google slide. But you can do either one, okay? And make sure it's 5 minutes long at least, because if it's lower than that and shorter, then I'll not accept it and probably get a lesser grade. All right. This is due by the let's say the beginning of the following week, and I'll go and talk about it again on Monday in week 6, or sorry, week 5, assignment 13. There's only one assignment that week and your presentation, so you do have time to do your presentation, and you have time to get questions into me, and we will talk back and forth about it. All right, so I'll talk about it again on Monday with the video for number 5 or week 5 and number 13. All right, but I would get started on it now, at least on your research and asking questions to me. All right.